Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, welcome back to Friday at 4. How are you?
I'm doing well, Chuck. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Guess what today is?
It last time I checked, it's Friday.
Friday the 13th.
That's right. It's the 13th. I
Yeah.
forgot about that part of it. Okay.
Oh, but it gets even better.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Guess what episode this is?
80?
Episode 80. Another
What a good
milestone,
guess,
man.
huh?
80 episodes.
Wow.
Man, that's awesome.
That
80
is.
weeks, man. A long time.
You know what? It shows that when you do the right thing and you add value and you're honest, things are going to continue. When you
Yeah.
start playing games and what's the angle and all that stuff, things don't last. But
Yeah.
when you're doing the right thing, and we get along, and you bring some great guests on and stuff, so it just helps a little bit. But good stuff. Value will always continue and last. So yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. And be excited for this episode, right? Because I think got a great topic.
Yeah. No, you came up with a really good topic this time.
We've all heard the phrase, right? The customer is always right. But is that really true? In today's business environment, I don't know, man. It's you know, from from unrealistic expectations and abusive behavior, right, to damaging reviews, consistent complaints. Bad customers can really drain your time, morale, and profits. So the big
Mhm.
question is, should businesses fire bad customers? What do you think about that? That's our topic today, right? Is the customer
So
always right? Should you
yeah.
fire them?
So
I love it.
I've been in business over 40 years. Yes, I'm older, okay, but I've been in business over 40 years, both on as an employee and as a business owner. And without question, in my mind, the hardest thing for a business to do is find new customers.
Mhm.
So the question really becomes, do you spend all your time and effort and money on getting new customers? Do you put all your time, money, and effort into keeping existing customers? But I think we'll all agree the balance is somewhere in between.
Mhm.
Some new, some existing. But to answer high level, and then we'll drill a little bit, to answer the question, should you, when do you fire an existing customer? Has another side to that is, when does an existing customer fire their vendor? Okay. So, there's two sides to that coin, right? But,
Yeah.
but what do you do with an existing customer? You got to look at a whole bunch of things, and in no particular order. So when you have an existing customer, how much time, effort, and money do you spend to get and acquire that customer?
Yeah.
So it's all the marketing, it's the phone calls, the potential business meetings, all that stuff that comes with it, potentially the attorneys as well, to acquire that customer. So having said all that you're spending, now they become a customer. Then they have to figure out, or we figure out, how much money are they spending with us on our goods or services, or products or services.
Yeah.
So if a client is acquired and they say, it could be business client, it could be an individual personal client,
Right.
but more on I guess, the business side, they may sign up for, I'm going to do 10,000 a month, 5,000 a month, 100,000 a month, whatever it is. So at least you have some revenue coming in. With the personal side, good luck. You never know.
Yeah.
But once the business starts to come in, how much money are they spending? And what's your profit margin based on your cost of goods? How much does it cost to make that widget that somebody's buying? Whether it be a food item, a clothing item, an IT item, software, whatever. So now you have money coming in. You know how much it cost you. And hopefully, if you do it right, there's a profit margin.
Right.
High level, that sounds really great.
Yeah.
Now you start to do the deep dive. Do they pay on time? So that could be a cash flow problem, which could hurt your business.
Mhm.
Do they take the discounts to pay early, which you want, because then you may make that little 1 or 2% less, but you have the cash flow to use elsewhere. So that may be a good thing.
Mhm.
But then you flip flop back and you say, okay, now I have a customer who calls every day and complains. So, depending on how sophisticated your customer service is, the quality of people in your customer service department, because again, higher level customers, you can't do the interactive voice response, press one, press two, because they're going to hang up and leave. So you need a real person.
Yeah, that becomes a problem in today's society, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, it
Yeah.
is, and we'll tell you that in a second. So
Yeah.
you have the person who answers the phone, and I've seen some good systems where the phone rings, and based on the phone number, before you even answer it, up on your customer service screen comes the client's business, their name, and all the stuff, so you know who they are. So you can answer the phone, "Hello, Chuck, how are you?" As opposed to, "Hi there, who are you? Are you a
Right.
customer?" Different
Can you give
approach.
me your information so I can verify your account? Right.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
again, you also got to make sure that nobody stole your cell phone and is calling impersonating you, because so you do
Yeah.
have to do some verification, but at least
Yep.
you have the information on the screen up front. It
Hmm.
makes it easier, better, and better for the client so that you know who they are.
Right.
But now they start to complain. So again, how good is your customer service system? Do you take one extreme and say, "Oh, Chuck, thanks for calling. Sorry you're upset. No problem. We'll refund you the full value." Now, some companies do that to satisfy the customer. And to me, there's a whole bunch of issues with that. Number one, is this the first time they're calling? Or do they do this every time they make a purchase to get a free purchase?
Right. They start taking
Number,
advantage of it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Um, the second thing is you have to remember, if you're refunding and whatever they're complaining about really is not a complaint, now they have twice the product for the cost of one. Now it hits your profit and your bottom line directly, because there's no revenue. It's all expense going back out the door.
Absolutely.
Um, the other thing to think, does your customer service system not only track how often they've called, how often you've refunded the money, but why did they call? Because once you start to track why they call, now your whole system, not just for that customer, but the whole system, run a report every week, every month, and do some type of analysis on the top 3 reasons people are calling to get a refund.
Right.
Because then you go back in to your system and say, if X number of people are complaining about Chuck's glasses, maybe we need to fix Chuck's, not, it's not Chuck, but it's the glasses. I'm nothing wrong with Chuck, but I'm saying the glasses, right? Just want to clarify that one.
Right.
But if
Clarify
there's
that,
something
Steve.
wrong with the glasses, then maybe we need to figure out and fix the glasses to avoid more and more and more returns and bad customers. Bad customer feed, not customers, bad customer feedback.
Right.
Because If you have that much bad feedback, then to your point at the beginning of this segment, what are they doing? Are they going to their friend and saying, hey, you know what? I bought a pair of glasses and they stink? Are they going on social media? At which point, within 30 seconds, the world knows.
Right.
Um, so where are they going with those complaints? So there's a lot of things packed into that. Yes, you can make nice and try to say, hey, Chuck, sorry about your glasses. We'll send you another pair. But again, Chuck's not stupid. Chuck's going to say, you know what? This was easy. Let me try again.
Right.
And you'd
Just
be
keep going.
surprised
Yeah.
how many people do this, where they
Yeah.
will call and call and call because they know they're continuing to get. So you got a free item
Yeah.
or you got your money back. Either
Yeah.
way, you've got either more product or your money back and you still have the existing product, assuming it still works. Okay.
Right.
So you're happy. And here's the challenge. As soon as you say no to a customer like that, they start screaming. So the earlier you can put in a good system to track this
Right.
stuff and fix the problem, the
Yeah.
less, and yes, there is a cost to fixing the problem, but the cost to fix it versus continuing the ongoing problem,
Right.
it's going to cost you less money if you fix it.
And
So
that's
fix it.
the key thing, right? This customer continues to cost the company money. They got to do something about it. And
Right.
what I like about you going this path with this topic leads me to say this statement. When I worked in the corporate world, and I
Mhm.
won't mention the company or the
Yeah,
type of
no, don't
business,
do that. Right.
but what happened was we had a customer and the regional director of the area
Mhm.
got involved and actually talked to the customer to say, you will never be a customer again for us. We're going to mark your account. You will never, ever be a customer again. Goodbye. And that is the consequence of you being
Yep.
a pain in the ass for a
Yes.
company where
Yep.
you're costing them more money
Yep.
than it would be to let
Mhm.
you go and you
Right.
go to a competitor, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So to that exact point, my own way of working is it should never get to the regional director.
yeah,
If the
yeah,
system is built the right way, and again, there is a cost to having a system, but again, you have to with
yeah.
cost benefit analysis, right? But
Absolutely. Yeah.
if
Yep.
if the system is built the right way and they see Chuck called in this week and next week and next week, there's got to be something in the system to say three strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Chuck, three times in a row, we've rectified it. Apparently, nobody else has these issues. I'm sorry, but we're no longer going to entertain your calls. If you choose not to purchase our product, we understand, but thank you. And we're going to flag your system and you will never get another refund.
And Chuck, you're fired.
Yeah, but that's
Yep.
what they're doing without
Yeah, man.
saying fired.
Yeah. You're right.
And of course, all
Exactly.
those calls are
Hmm.
recorded and it's in
Yep.
the system because you got to, again, in this day and age, CYA is everything. Um,
Absolutely. That's one thing I was
yeah,
very good at. Document,
yeah,
document, document. Keep
you have
very
to.
good notes on everything that
Yep,
happens.
yep,
So you build that story, right? You build that timeline, you build that story. So when it
yep,
comes
yep,
time to
yep,
confront that customer, have to fire that customer, let that customer go, you have the data and the information you need to say, hey, look, Mr. Jones,
yep,
this is it. We've done what
yep.
we can and moving on, right?
Right. You have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in this world, if HR departments do this to protect themselves from a lawsuit, why can't every other company do this? And
Yeah.
they should. And again, I'm a consumer just like everybody else out there for any number of services. But at some point, you have to realize there's a cost to the item, there's a cost to the company, there's a cost of a lot of things out there. And yes, the
Yeah.
economy's tough. I get it. Um, but you got to
And
realize.
Yeah, and the thing is too, right? Businesses really they have to think about this, right? They got to really protect their culture, their team, and
Hmm.
the customers who truly value what they do, right?
Right.
Because all that plays factor into this, one bad seed can ruin. Because if you have that one customer out there that constantly bashes your business, let's
Hmm.
pick on the restaurant industry again, right?
Yeah.
This customer goes and eats your tacos, and your tacos are awful and runny and ran down my arm. But the truth was, you just were eating incorrect, and you let this happen to yourself.
Right.
But now everybody thinks that this taco business is horrible.
Correct.
And you got to
Correct.
protect yourself, right? Because
Correct.
that leads up to all the things now. To where did
Hmm.
you reach out to management? Did you make them aware
Right.
of the situation of what you felt or what you saw when you're
Hmm.
running down your arm? Did you make them aware that you had this problem so they could fix it?
Right.
You know, but no, you go out there and you just bash the company,
Right.
to make up stuff just because, well, I want free tacos, so I'll do this every month.
Yeah.
And that's a
Well,
that's a true story. It happens.
yeah. Oh, 100%. But
Mhm.
that's where there also needs to be another part to customer service. And that part is somebody for social media who
Yep.
scours the major sites, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your whatever else is out there, and every day look for some type of negative feedback. And
Yeah.
then somehow, and I'm sure there's a way, but I'm not the techie on this side of it, is to somehow match that negative review back to the customer's record and customer service in their system. And if they can find that tie back, then the company writes a rebuttal to that review that says, hey, Chuck, I understand you wrote in because of this. However, based on our records, you called up 3 times in the last 3 weeks. We refunded your money 3 times, but you're still unhappy. And stop. Because then anybody reading the review who also reads the company's side will then say, you know what, discount it and move on. But if
Yeah.
you don't respond, and again, you can get into a pissing match back and forth, but
Yeah.
if you do it tactfully, the smart person who reads will say, oh, here's the complaint, here's the response. Company documented you told 3 times in 3 weeks, you got a full refund, but you're still writing the review. No. See, that's what I would look for.
And I'm glad you said that. It takes you right to my next point. My star performance index does part of that for the business owner.
Mm,
So I pull out your numbers, I'll pull out your benchmark of the
mm-hmm.
top um, 10 places in your area that are close to your type of business. And I give you
Okay.
the highest and lowest review of your competitors. So you can see
Nice.
what they're doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can compare yourself to that, right? And
Right.
then part of it is I give you out of your top 10 latest reviews, I give you your response rate. How did you respond to your latest reviews? Some of
Right.
them 0%, most of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are 10%, some are 100%. But
Mhm.
I think that's a huge win for businesses to
Yes.
combat what we're talking about,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to use that wisely and look at those numbers and look at what I give you, to help you fight this so you don't have to
Yeah.
fire the customer,
Correct. Correct.
because it happens all the time.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah.
And again, you know better than I do, but I have seen enough cases where to my local restaurants where they get a slew of negative reviews and they were able to tie back almost every single review to the competitor who wrote the review, the negative
Yeah.
review.
And that is what part of my opening scene is for my show, Chasing the Stars and Tasted and Rated,
Hmm.
is we compare the ratings and rants you see online to what we find, because
Right,
we find that
right,
that happens a lot, that
right.
it's not really the truth. So we find you
Yeah,
the truth. It's awesome,
yeah.
isn't
Yeah, that's great. I mean, to
it?
me, that's why your service is so important to find out what's really going on from an independent perspective.
Yeah. And the truth side gives the truth of your business.
Right,
I
right.
go in and make a review myself. I show you what I find versus what you're hearing online.
Hmm.
Is what you're seeing the truth?
Correct.
Is your 3.8 really a 3.8? Are you really a 4.6? Are you really a 5.0? you know?
Hmm.
Absolutely. Man,
Yeah.
good stuff.
That's smart. That is a great thing. I'm glad you brought that up because it is and again, I don't know about other industries, but I know for the food, from what I've experienced and what you go through, it's such a key, important piece that a lot of people don't either know or don't know how to combat it. Am I really doing well? I'm getting so many negatives. Should I stay open? Do I close? What do I do? So at least, what you're doing is giving them that honest, independent feedback. So at least they know where they're going and have an idea to stay, not stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the
yeah,
things that I think we talked about this before in a few episodes back, and I mentioned this, I mentioned it several times. It's where I hear a lot of business owners just stick their head in the sand and don't want to know the truth. They're afraid
correct.
of what's going to come out. But
Correct.
if you stay with your head in the sand and don't really get the thumb on the pulse of your business, you could potentially be losing a lot of money or go out of business because you don't follow what the trends are happening for you and your competitors, because they could be doing something worse than you, but they're
Hmm.
making you look bad, or they could be
Right.
doing something so much better than you, and you really
Right.
are bad. You know?
I agree.
Yeah.
And looking in the mirror, in this case, at your own business, is really tough. A lot of people don't want to. They're afraid. I've referred to this before, and I keep forgetting the name of the picture. But there's a really famous picture, and I think it's with Jack Nicholson, where it's in a courtroom, and he says to the person on the stand, "You can't handle the truth."
Mhm.
I forget, and I keep forgetting the name of the picture, but it's a really good picture. Um,
Yeah.
but it's the same type of thing. You need to take an independent look. Are you servicing the customers service wise,
Right.
food wise, um, facility wise? What are you doing? Is it something you want to do because you think it's right? Or
Right.
are you doing what's right because the customers want it? Now, yes, bottom line is you need to make a profit. I get that. But if you're giving a customer a pizza and they want um, Greek food, not going to work. I'm
Yeah.
using that as an example, obviously.
Right.
But if you don't give them what they're looking for, they're going to go somewhere else, and
Yeah.
chances are they're not coming back.
Not going to come back. Nope.
And that just starts the downward spiral. So
Right.
it may hurt a little bit to get that honest feedback, but at least you know where you are. What's working well, keep doing. What's not,
Yeah.
make the tweaks, make those changes, but put yourself in a better position, especially in this economy. Put yourself in a better position to get more customers in the door, and hopefully they'll spend more if they like the food, they like the ambiance, they like all the stuff that comes with it. So yeah, you have to do it. And that's why again, your reviews chasing the stars is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I definitely think that, keeping your eye on your competitors
Mhm.
and keeping your thumb on the pulse of your business and pull your head out of the sand
Right.
is very, very important, especially in today's economy, since you have to charge more for your product or service because the economy tells us inflation. So you have to charge more. You have to.
Yeah.
And that's so important right now.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And just to go back real quick before I change on you a little bit, um, as more and more customers start to call in and you don't have a system to track and correct the issues, and you're paying more out, it adds to the cost of the merchandise because now businesses are not getting money in, costs are higher. Now the prices go up.
Yeah.
Prices go up. Now a company may now be no longer competitive because they don't, how much of that can you absorb before you start losing money? So you have to raise your prices.
Yeah.
So that, it's not just Chuck getting three new pairs of glasses. It's the company now has to pay for those three glasses
Yep.
times how many people did the same thing. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
So,
One thing,
yeah.
real quick before you switch, I want to say that going back a little bit too, I worked for a company a little while back that taught me something very cool. I didn't know about until after I got out of the corporate world into the
Mm,
second role in the corporate world was called doing time studies. And
mm.
it's so important. Time studies work because it gives you,
Yeah.
you know, before you fire a customer, you got that time study so you know the whole process of how much time it takes to make those glasses, right? To sell
Correct.
those glasses.
Right.
You got to pay your salesman and on and on. And I think
Mm.
time studies are a very important part
Yeah.
of knowing what the costs are, the time
Hmm.
of how you're going to put this
Yeah.
together,
Hmm.
and it gives you a gauge of when is it time to pull that switch on that customer and say you're fired, right? Yeah,
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
yeah,
There is a show on called Bar Rescue. It's on
yep,
um,
yep,
pay-per-view, one of those cable stations.
yeah. Know it
Um,
well. Yeah,
and I watch fairly often because it's pretty entertaining, and I love when he turns bars around.
yeah,
But one of the things that he continue, and again, I don't know if this is just the bar industry or across the food industry. I don't know, but John Taffer continues to say the cost of your food, the actual cost of the food times three is what you sell it for. So the first
interesting.
third could be the actual cost of the food. The middle third is your rent, your utilities, your
Right.
salaries, your whatever. And then the,
Mhm.
the last third is your profit margin.
Yeah,
So in a tough economy, if the cost, like now with inflation, if the cost of your food and everything else increases, that means you're a third, a third, and a third. Now, instead of something being $10, now it's $12. You have no choice. You need to make money, but will the public pay the 12 or they will only pay the 10?
right.
And if they're only going to pay the 10, instead of having now, in this case, a $3 or $4 profit margin, you're down to one. Can you
Yeah.
sustain? Can you
And
get enough
sustainability
business in
becomes
the
an issue.
door at
Yeah,
a dollar instead of the
right.
$4 per? So that could force, so that all adds into returns and
Yeah,
refunds and yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So that's where it
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
it all factors in. That's what's crazy about all this. It's
it
so
is.
much to it. It's
It's
not just
not,
as simple as saying you're a bad customer. We're going to fire you. It's so much that goes into
it is.
that decision from the business owner that says, okay, it's time to
Correct.
pull that trigger on that. Yeah, I get it.
Correct. And good or bad, the average person who does not own a business or has never owned a business is likely unaware just because they've never been educated. And there's really no reason to be educated on this topic. But if they're not aware of everything that goes through, like we've been talking about, okay, so I'll return it. So I'll get a refund. So what? One by one may not be so bad. Thousands by thousands is not so good.
The
So,
mass quantities can really hurt.
yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, yeah. But I wanted to switch it just, I don't know how much time we got left, but I just wanted
We
to
got 10
switch it.
minutes left.
Okay, I
Yep.
wanted to switch just a little bit and let's
Sure.
put the foot on you're a consumer.
Yeah.
You now work with Chuck Incorporated and you're buying whatever widget you're buying, good service, whatever. And you're expecting that when you make a purchase, and I'm not talking walking into a store and taking something off a shelf. I'm saying if you order something online, you go into a store and you place an order, you're expecting a certain quality merchandise, again, whatever it is, you're expecting a certain quality to be delivered at a certain time at a certain price. And it's up to that company, that corporation, to deliver to the consumer that made that purchase. Because remember, they have your money
Right.
and they're working with it to get all that other stuff done. If
Yep.
they don't deliver any of those three things, at what point does the consumer turn around to the company, to the business, and say, hey, Chuck, look, I ordered once, you messed up my order. I ordered twice, you messed up my order. Do I give you a third time? That three
Right.
strikes and you're out rule? Do I
Right.
give you the third shot? Now,
Yeah.
If there's a national strike and the rails and the ships stop running, okay, out of your control. But if everything is fine, there's no strikes, the merchandise is readily available, all the post office is running, all those things are running, and you're not getting your stuff, how long do you work with that business?
Right.
You walk into a
Yeah.
restaurant and you say, hey, I'm bringing in my family. We want to order whatever we order, and they order it. And 3 hours later, your food comes out and it's cold. You're not paying for it. You may not even wait the 3 hours to get it to begin with. But
I will
at
tell
that
you
point,
firsthand, you get one shot at a restaurant with me,
correct.
one shot. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of people feel the same way. You get one shot.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
very important. You're on the food side, I'm on the financial side. If people
Yeah.
don't trust you and you do the wrong thing, they're going to cancel whatever they did. So
Yep.
whatever commission you made, they're going to take back. Your reputation is gone. And then we have what's called E&O, errors and omissions insurance, which we have to do. So if we work with a customer and mess up, they file a complaint.
Yep.
The E&O company does the background and the information and gather and stuff. If you're innocent, they will present evidence you're innocent and everybody goes away. But if
Right.
you're guilty, they pay up to, I'm not going to tell you how much, but they pay up to a certain amount of money. It's pretty hefty.
Yeah.
But then you're marked in the system that you had a problem.
Got a problem. Yep.
And you may or may not lose your license. And if it happens a second time, you're gone. No company will sponsor you to do business because you're ruining their reputation. Because
Right.
you know, I'm selling XYZ company's product. Yeah, I messed up, but they're going to be ticked off at XYZ company. So now I'm
Yeah.
ruining my reputation and theirs. Can't do
Yep.
that. Can't do that. So again, at some point, when do you say, stop? I want company B. I'm done with Chuck. I want Steve. Or I'm done with Steve. I want Chuck. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. And that's the thing, right? Because you got a good example there with the E&O, right? Because now that you're the customer of that company,
Hmm.
at what point does that company say, all right, Steve, it's time to fire you because
Right.
you didn't follow what needs to happen? And obviously, they'll investigate everything to make sure
Sure.
that it was a clear-cut decision on what
Mhm.
way they're going to go with that decision. But yeah, at that point, they're going to say, look, Steve, you can't do this anymore. You're fired, and we can't have it. So yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it's such a and what's cool is it's not a gray line. It's not a gray area with that. It's
No,
definitely
no.
cut and dry.
Yeah, there's
But in
no
a
gray
lot of
area.
yeah, and with a lot of cases with a lot of businesses, especially small businesses,
Mm,
it is a gray area because it's a
mm,
customer you talk about.
yes.
Do you really get rid of this customer because they did X, Y, and Z, or do
Hmm.
you work with that customer because you're looking to the future that this could
Right,
be a great customer going forward? So it's
right.
it's a tough decision.
It is a
It's
tough
tough.
decision. But again,
Yeah.
I go back to what I said in earlier. Somebody who comes in and complains week one, okay, fine. I get it. But if they do it a second time and a third time, at some point you got to say, how
Yeah.
much longer do I continue?
Huh? I've
Cut
had
your
tons of
losses.
those cases, buddy, in my career.
I'm
And I'm sure
sure.
you did too,
Yeah.
where
But
you've seen those kind of customers where you scratch
yeah,
your head, you go, I think we have to be done with this customer. I think we're at that point,
at some
Here's the
point,
documentation, right? Yeah.
yeah, at
Yeah.
some point, I agree with you. Look forward. Don't, but there's got to be, and to protect yourself, it's got to be in writing somewhere. Because
Absolutely.
if it's in
Mhm.
writing that says in the operations manual, if it says a customer can do this once, twice, three times, and then they're done. Because if
Yeah.
you don't have that in the operations manual, the
Yeah.
customer can come back and say discrimination.
Yep.
And then you're in deep trouble because now it's a lawsuit. Go
Loss
prove
a
it, and you
lawsuit.
can't.
Yeah.
So put
Yeah.
everything in as this is our standard operating procedure. Everybody gets the same treatment.
Yeah.
It's the same thing
Yep.
with HR. They have a manual, whatever company, they have HR manual,
Yep.
and everybody is treated the same way. And if you're not, that's where the lawsuits come from.
Yeah.
That's what, and it's whether it's a product or service, a food establishment, same way. It's got to be documented.
I would love to hear what our audience has to say about this topic because it's definitely, it goes both ways. I'd love to hear what other people are experiencing, what they have to say about this, because this is a great topic. And just like every
It is.
episode we do, it's something that
Yeah.
can really
Yeah.
help
This
everybody,
was a great topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
516-727-2294. Reach out to Steve if you got any comments, questions, or need any help. Financial side, reach him. Steve's the man.
Yeah, thanks. And reach out to Chuck at 410-935-6132 from the food side. He's been doing this a long time, knows his stuff. And if you
I
want your
have.
business to really know what's going on from an independent truth perspective so you can make changes if you have to, give Chuck a call.
What a great statement. If you have to. I love
If
that
you
because,
have to.
who knows what we find. And that's the thing about it. I don't come
Right.
out there and hope to find something that's awful. I come out there to help boost your business. And that's what we really do.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we find the good, the bad, the ugly, we make it work and we fix it, and we help you
Right.
show you how to fix it. Yeah,
Yep.
good stuff. Great
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Great episode. Great Friday at 4 because
It's 4:00 somewhere. Love that. Love that.
I'm telling you,
Okay.
man. I look forward to it. Every Friday, that's the first thing I can think. I can't wait for 4 o'clock, man. It's
Yep.
such a great topic. Such a great,
Yep.
great. I love this podcast. It's so good.
Me too.
Steve, thanks again for coming. Thanks again. Hey, whew,
That
thanks
too.
again for
Okay.
coming on. It's another great episode, another great
Yep.
day. The weather here is kind of weird, but
It's March. What can I tell you?
it's March, right? I hope you have
All
a
right.
great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. We
You
will
too.
talk soon. And
You
to
got
our
it.
audience, have a great day.
You got it. Thanks, Chuck. Have a great
See you,
one.
buddy.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.